So, hello everyone. Before introducing my guest today, I want to share an interesting experience. Recently, I attended the Tone Gateway event for the first time. While I had been keeping an eye on Tone community growth, I have to admit I didn't expect the level of innovation and positive energy I encountered there. So it was truly impressive. During the event, I had the pleasure to hearing Martin Masser speaking. His insight caught my attention, and I knew I had to learn more. So today, I'm thrilled to welcome Martin, the Chief Business Development Officer of STONfi, to join me for this short but engaging chat. Hello, Martin, and thank you for being here.
Mate, thank you so much for having me, Waleed. How are you? Good?
All good, all good. Martin, with nearly 2 years in banking, so or sorry, 2 decades in banking. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say
how has
I've done about like
yeah,
it really is like two decades in banking.
yeah.
Obviously there's crypto crossover as well.
So how has your experience in traditional finance shaped your approach to this?
It's not like I've left traditional banking and come into crypto fresh. I've always been fascinated with crypto. I've always been playing, like looking and attending. It's a lot slower innovation in a bank. There's obviously pros and cons. Obviously, working in a bank, like there's a lot. There's a lot of structure. There's a lot of processes. Some of the software you'll never. Some of the software is older than me. Like so you'll be looking at like back office software, and it is. I'm not joking. It really is older than me. And I think the issue is a lot of the technology then has to build on top of some of this legacy software. It slows it down. You can't. And I worked on a project where they had to pull it out, and they spent 2 years to pull this out. They pulled it out, and then within like a couple of days, they had to put it back in because everything's relying on it. Where the way that traditional banking is, even the neobanks, like crypto is just this innovation. Like we talk, there's a huge amount, especially ton. I think like there's a huge gap and I think in the Western world we don't really appreciate like I'm able to get a bank account pretty easily, and hopefully you're able to get, a lot of people. There's so many people that just can't get a bank account. Like, it's just like from documents to ID, like, and this has been
Address.
going on. So yeah, this is something I've heard for many years, and I've not really seen it really work, but we're starting to see it a lot more now of people that don't have a bank account. Now they can access crypto if they can just fiat on board, and like I think what crypto has done is people are so innovation and great ideas, like even like small little shops, you can feel on board with them. So, okay, there might be big fees, but then you've got someone on board and they're using their mobile phone and they're able to get involved. They're doing smaller bits. And, a lot of what Tom's been doing, we've had big uptake on in Africa, Asia. It's been brilliant, like it's key. It's only just the start, though. It really is just the start.
Yeah. So for those who are unfamiliar with STONfi, what problem does the platform aim to solve here, and what sets apart from other decentralized exchanges?
So, just in case people aren't familiar what a decentralized or an exchange is, I crudely, and hopefully there's no regulators actually listening to it. If you think of a bureau de change, where you would a finance swap, where you change your pounds for your dollars, or your pounds for your euros for your dirham, for instance. Just imagine the crypto version. So you would have your Bitcoin to your, I'll say your Toncoin, or Bitcoin for Tether coin, as you might be hearing it. Okay. So you have two versions. You have a centralized one where you basically leave all your coins and your money with I was going to say trusted with an entity, and you could do the swaps on there and you can leave it there, or you could control it all yourself and then do all the trading over there. So there's huge pros and cons to both. With the centralized one, you're giving all the power to these centralized exchanges. So, and I've had this happen to me. If they go bust or the founder disappears with it, you have real no ground for getting your money back, and it just goes. And I've had people go, "Oh, what's the helpline number for this?" You're done. That's it. It's a tricky one, but it's a lot easier because you're not having to self-custody. You're not able, like writing these seed words down, which is your password,
Better user experience.
storing it. Sorry?
Better user experience, let me say
it. Well, this is the whole thing. It's like crypto is known for such a bad crypto experience. It's bad onboarding you. Telling a friend who's not familiar with crypto, how do you get them involved? It's a very difficult process. With what a DEX does, and STONfi is one of the DEXs there. We're on TON, which is the Telegram of Telegram. Sorry, the blockchain of Telegram. You can exchange your coins within, maybe in the Telegram app for most countries. So you basically, all you need is just your wallet. Yeah, your ID. There you go. Handle. There you go. You do my work for me. You need a handle, or you can have other wallets as well, and you can trade it there. But then you have a lot more control of it yourself. So again, you can do a lot more things, and then also offer other experiences and other products that a centralized exchange doesn't also do there. I won't get into it at the moment, but that's what we do.
Yeah. So why was the TON blockchain chosen as the foundation of the platform? Is it the Telegram thing, or
The STON,
are they aligned more with STONfi goal?
It would be a bit strange if we were the Bitcoin platform, STON the key. But yeah, look, I've been, as I said, I've been in crypto for so long. Everyone is on Telegram in crypto. Everyone. You would go to an event if you were at Gateway. I don't know. Hopefully, it depends on what level of crypto user you are. You'd have your QR code on your phone, and you just sort of scan. Actually, at Gateway, people's QR code was on their part, so you could just scan it and go around and do that. So it's a natural thing. Like Telegram and crypto, it just works. It's that relationship. There's no other Web2 product that is more crypto than Telegram, like has all the users. Near enough, I would say 99.9% of crypto users are on Telegram or very close to that. So obviously that's a great adoption. And then there's the reason we're on it is this, like there's a wallet within Telegram, and it's just a natural progression that you need somewhere to exchange tokens, hence how STONfi became.
Can you explain the concept of the newly launched Omnistone Protocol?
Yeah, yeah. So the purpose of TON, and like we called it TON Gateway, so that was a big show. TON, I don't think has ever said that it's only going to be TON blockchain, and that is it. And I think there's a lot of other chains that say that we are going to be that key one chain. I use other chains. I think most people I know use other chains, for different reasons, legacy reasons, just use reasons, so
adoption at you have to go beyond the pool of TON itself, and you have to
exactly. So yeah, and it's like, how can you bring in the other crypto users onto TON as well? The great thing with Telegram is you're getting Web2 users that never touch crypto easily onboarded, because you can onboard, as I said, just with a handle for most users. But also, like, what is really useful is now with Omniston. Omniston is this cross-chain. So if you have Ethereum, you'll be able to do any swaps and then get TON and on all the tokens on TON and the reverse way. Or you could just load up STONfi and swap two different chains. So what you really need is this entry point and this exit point, and making, as you said just a minute ago, the UX. It's all about UX and distribution. And that has been the hardest thing to solve. You get the distribution right. Telegram's got distribution. You get the UX right. Hopefully this is what we're trying to do. Make it easier. you're nailing this real onboarding. People always, don't know if you remember, like about 2-3 years ago, like an AI really just took off, and it was that one moment, ChatGPT, okay, and then you just got in and overnight, near enough was overnight, and like, why were people sort of talking about it? It made your life easier. It made your life better. Like I really struggle with writing, and like I love ChatGPT because it's a way to sort of start a letter or start an email, and like gives me the bones. You're making your lives easier, you're making your lives better, and this is obviously what Omnistone's trying to do, and obviously when you build a product, it is.
It proved its utility, I believe.
Well, exactly, and that's why it's so successful. People want to use it. There's a lot of, I'll be honest, I go to a lot of these crypto shows, and so many projects I don't even understand what they're trying to do. It's like we're yielding it, then we're wrapping it, then we restake it, then we bond it, and then we yield it, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm meant to understand all of this, and even I don't. You really just need to keep stuff really simple for users. Maybe do all of that stuff, but just do it in one click. In the background, do all that fancy stuff behind the scenes. So look, Ton's always known as the gateway, getting all these users in. Then what do you do with this? How can you then help these users do the trading and make it really easy on them?
So the big question whenever we deal with or we talk with the DeFi or we try to explain DeFi to any of the legacy traditional financial industry. So there is the compliance topic that pops up like in front of you. So how you're managing this the compliance and or how you're preparing. So I don't want to say that you are applying all the compliance measures now, but me and you, we both know that the future is for decentralized finance, at least in the crypto space, and exchanges somehow will start losing ground with time. So, but there is a moment where DeFi has to somehow become more acceptable by regulators, by financial
Yeah,
institution, and what are you doing in this space, or how you're preparing for the next stage?
well, that's a really valid point. Okay, so in theory, obviously, we're a decentralized exchange, which means anyone can use it. We have got software and processes that are checking specific wallets or transactions to sort of stop anyone being scammed, or any addresses or actors that shouldn't be involved in there. And I think, like this is one of the key things. I think the word regulation is such a scary word, because whenever anyone mentions it, straight away they just think it's some lockdown on like. I know people that are like really like against anything involved. And I remember there's one guy, and he had his wallet hacked, and the funds went to Binance, and straight away he was like messaging by, oh, like this person's there. It's like, well, in theory, like you didn't want regulation, but then as soon as you, like there's obviously this fine, there's a point of like regulation is very useful, okay, like and there'll obviously be people, that really totally disagree and go, look, it's your own fault, or but as a user, there are some protections that you need, even if it's not your fault, if bad actors in particular get involved or good actors turn bad. There's a few other things that we've obviously done with the geolocation as well, and checks. Going forward, how I view and how I can see is it would be great, and like Telegram and Ton, you can do ways to sort of track users' location, for instance, or like just not necessarily their ID or who they are, but you don't really need to know that. It's like, look, I'm a British citizen. Imagine if I had some verification of that, but all it was just a smart contract to say, look, he's British, tick there, and then these are the range of things that I can do, and then I can't do 1, 2, 3, but I can do 4, 5, 6. Then I go to it, it connects to the wallet. The wallet has this connected ID, and they go, like, these are the services that you can offer, and then that helps regulation and I can definitely see this is the future of how regulation can work with crypto. Because at the moment, I do feel it's a bit of a, like
Yeah,
both of
totally.
both don't work with
Sure.
it, or it's and hopefully the landscape, is going to be changing. Just with all the news and the events that are going on, you'll see certain countries are a lot more pro innovation and working with crypto than others, and you'll find they're going to have this competitive advantage. They're going to get the crypto projects moving to them, working with
It's
them.
not
This
enough,
is good.
Martin. It's not enough. Yani, looking into what's happening, let's say in Dubai or in the
Yeah,
UAE, right? They are
yeah,
doing their best. Yani, on terms of regulation, they are really doing their
yeah.
even on DeFi. No one touched DeFi. ADGM tried for the last year or so. They did a consultation paper. So, but somehow regulators are not well educated about DeFi, and they are not fluent about it. And the problem with Web3, and this is, we can take this off the record and off the call, but we've been talking with each other for long. We're not talking
Mm.
with the other party, with the other players in the game. So, so for now, what I see happening, I see nothing happening. They are not interested even to touch D5 for the near future. I'm not sure if you agree with me.
It's there's definitely there's an educational thing. I think it's just being a little bit more transparent, but you're right. But it's crazy. When I started out with Bitcoin, I think people were like, "Oh, within a few years, everyone's gonna, this utopia." But in reality, I still think we're good. Only 10 years off a lot of this stuff,
Mm.
realistically. And like someone will say, "Oh, by the end of the decade, we're going to have some of the legends." It's like, wow, that's a long time. It's like, actually, it's not that long, or like 5 years isn't that long to get a lot of the regulations in. When I worked in banking, I don't know, there was Mika and MiFID 2 and Dodd Frank, and like so many things that sort of then come in, but that takes a lot of time and then it gets shaped. So yeah, I don't think it's anytime soon. However, I think the issues I've seen is you can't just ban everything. I don't, like we're at this point now, and maybe I've got very crypto. I'm in a crypto bubble of a bubble of a bubble, but I don't think we're not going to see crypto. I think crypto is going to be a thing. I don't think it's going to disappear and or be regulated out of existence. Which 5 years ago, there was this big call to say, well, it's never going to be a thing, or it's a scam, and there's going to be a lot more awareness. You find, and I always say, Bitcoin breathes. So, you get these peaks and troughs. So there's more people going to get in. There's going to be a lot more conversation where just the terminology is going to be a lot more natural. Governments, I've heard like multiple governments now getting involved, and like this is it's going to be a lot more interesting. A lot of this stuff.
I agree. I started this platform. I started Unlock Blockchain early in 2017.
Yeah,
Because when I first I was organizing a conference for Dubai by then called Unlock Blockchain Forum for Dubai government, and my first meeting was with people around the central bank and the Ministry of Commerce. So when I first talk about a blockchain conference, the feedback was, actually, we don't deal with Bitcoin. So
yeah.
we're talking something else. This is blockchain. And then I noticed that, okay, people really don't know the difference between blockchain and Bitcoin. So same on DeFi now. So big guys from the the centralized exchanges work. So they are having big muscles to show their presence everywhere. They are promoting themselves and they are acquiring users. They are doing great. This is the first stage of onboarding, I believe, and this is easy. They going to the next step. Education is important on two elements, on two parallel route, I believe. From the regulator point of view, yes, this is absolutely, and this will take time, and from the user as well. So DeFi can be intimidating for newcomers, and I believe and educating people on DeFi is so important. I'm not sure
I,
how much you agree.
I I'll say something probably slightly controversial. I don't think DeFi, the way that we use DeFi now, will be anywhere near how we have DeFi going forward. You know, like it's just it's too confusing. Even I get confused sometimes with like LP tokens and like loads of different terms of like yielding. It's gonna have to be a lot more. There's gonna be more simplification going on there. As I said, for the basic user, you know, there's no way they're going to be able to understand this because there's just too many things of making mistakes, and then when people make mistakes, it's
They
so
just feel that they have to take a step back.
yeah. And like you know, this is something you know we've been speaking a lot, and with our product in STONfi, and you'll see there's other DeFi platforms as well. They're now trying to make it a lot easier and like single sided staking. So, or liquidity providing. So instead of having two tokens, you can provide one. And like for most users, like when we're doing this at Ton, and we had an amazing generous campaign of like 100% rewards up to 150%. You had to supply USDT and Ton. And I was speaking to major people, whales, just in the ecosystem. They'd never done this liquidity providing and then farming. Even then, it was like, I've got all this Ton. How do I get these rewards? Like, you need USDT. You go like, how does that work? And then you have to step them through, you know, and then have you added it, and then you added it to the farm, and then like this stuff. Like, can you imagine like
It
when I
should
got my
happen in the back end. It should happen in the back end.
exactly, there should be one button, you know, farm all your tokens, you know, go for it. Like when I've got
Even
my
I'm with changing the name. Farming. Why farming? Why this
why
name?
why I'll be honest, like in crypto, we choose the most
Yield. Why not interest?
user-friendly term. You know, like even NFTs, it's like what you know, no one understands that. Digital collectibles. Ah, okay, you get people when you're, you know, like you're doing this, but like I don't know if it's just the type we need more marketing like kind of the terminology, you know, like it's been always like sort of software first, but you just need to sort
You,
of get out there, like come up with some you know, snazzy name or like simple like
you should see.
names. I think the issue also there is when I have brought this point up before, is I think people get a bit scared by the regulators by trying to say, okay, this is like earning interest. And then it's like, oh, now you've given them earning interest. It's like, well, we're trying to use traditional terms to make it simple. And it's like, yeah. It's even like when the iPhone started out, they had so many of the traditional sort of, you know, looking like features, you know, like even like the clock and everything like that, you know, because people are very scared to have this big jump. You can't have this huge jump. There was the back way before both of us were born, when you had horse and cart, and then they had the electric vehicles. People just didn't understand it. So a lot of the times they had to put these fake horse heads on these vehicles just to chill people down because people just couldn't
As
do it.
the metro drive, the autonomous metro movement. So they had at the beginning here in Dubai, they had to put an officer in the first cabin just to show people that there's someone driving it, but there's no one driving it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because there's no need. But again, these are the things. So you can't like people are always like this big jump. You can't do that. Like for people to really do, you just gradually, slowly do that along that.
Interesting. So, Martin, I will conclude with one question. How do you see DeFi in the coming 5 years?
DeFi, I think what we have said is definitely if I'm getting like and interest rates are going to go down. I definitely think you know like the rates we've had is not going to happen. So the rates are going to be a lot lower, and you know even now my interest rates aren't amazing. DeFi coming in, the rates that you're going to be getting could be easily 10 times more than the interest you're earning in your traditional bank account. And that's why DeFi is going to be really great.
Is this healthy, Martin?
Is it
Having
healthy? A lot of these yields and you know you know like the you know some of them are done just by smart contracts. You've just working in banking. I had a whole floor of people just settling back office transactions, which in crypto You just won't need, it's like one of those, hopefully like in like 50, 60 years time, it's like, what? People manually, settling this out.
Reconciliation.
So, there's a huge amount of cost you can save there. There's a huge amount more innovation, atomic settlement, where you can settle stuff directly. Again, I come from banking. So if you're in banking, T+2 for spot settlement. So, if I bought pounds off you, it would take 2 days for it to settle, on a spot. Whereas, we're used to instant stuff. So there's a huge amount more capital that can be freed up, over traditional finance. So there's multiple ways, and you can start. This isn't when I'm talking about DeFi with these percentages. This isn't like Ponzi-nomics. Okay, this is totally. I'm not saying these fake amounts that come up, which again this is the issue, because then people hear this one or two or three things and they associate all of these high interest rates with specific stuff. If you look at Athena, how they're getting their yields, I won't go into it, but check out Athena with how they're getting the yields on the out there, and then there's many other ways that you can buy assets, get them pegged to the treasury bonds, and then wrap it. Again, this is stuff. Don't explain it to me, like as long as like there's some way behind it, that I need someone cleverer to explain it to me. But even if we're going to be getting like 5 to 10%, okay, and I think that's quite a good sweet spot where a lot of our traditional interest rates are going to be like, again, below 1%. There's going to be a lot more of an appeal. Okay, so people are then like, well, hang on a sec. Why should I be doing it with my bank where I could be getting 10 times the amount? And so I definitely think there's going to be a much bigger appeal. And I also think, the DeFi we see now probably won't be anywhere near as complicated as we've just spoken earlier, because like there's a lot more innovation, and I think we're getting a lot more of the brains from TradFi coming over into now crypto. It's like, why work on old legacy software from the 60s and 70s and 80s? We could be working this new settlement, and there's new opportunities, because if you think about it, like, and I've long explained this for quite a while. If you think about when the iPhone came out with this new software, it took many years for actually something new to come onto it. Okay, we had the calculators before, but if you think about Uber, you can never have done Uber on like any other way. I couldn't have done Uber on my laptop. Imagine having Uber, I booked my, and then we gotta, there's going to be so much more innovation that's coming. There's going to be so many ways that people can get involved. And the one thing I would say, like, if people are watching this, like, crypto is the easiest way to get involved and near enough work for like your crypto project or work in the industry. It's that I think for the next year, it's the perfect time. The risk reward ratios of like getting involved in a project, getting it early, getting some exposure, perfect opportunity, perfect time. There's going to be so much going on, so much attention. And everyone's just really excited. Like you go, hopefully, when you're in Ton Gateway, as you're saying, everyone's positive, everyone's happy, like even in the bad times, people are still happy, and because there's this vision and there's this belief, of how it's going to change and how it be better there. So it's going to change. It's going to be different. Hopefully, like everyone would have known STONfi, and they'll look back on this and go, wow, what a great podcast this was, Walid has really, really cracked this one and seen into the future.
Thank you, Martin, for your time. Very interesting discussion, and hopefully we will meet in person soon.
I'm sure we will. Thank you very much. And obviously, always reach out to me. I'm always happy to hear your guys and hear thoughts, good or bad.
We'll do that.